independent, and ambitious. She came from a working-class family in the northeast of England, and due to her academic success, she was accepted at a grammar school. After marriage and motherhood, she went on to do degrees as a mature student in her 30s and forged a successful career in the federal government. Sadly, she was not able to enjoy her retirement after many years of work and overtime. In her late 60s, she began to suffer the early symptoms of Alzheimer's and lived with diminishing senses for about 20 years. I would like to thank her devoted friend Michael for his enormous help with my mother since her diagnosis and the struggles involved in her care. Now Christine is free from this cruel disease. Let us remember her as she was in the fullness of life in happier times. As Christine wrote her thesis on George Eliot, I thought I would read a poem by her, The Choir Invisible. A moment. Oh, may I join the choir invisible of those immortal dead who live again in minds made better by their presence, live in pulses stirred to generosity, in deeds of daring rectitude, in scorn for miserable aims that end with self, in thoughts sublime that pierce the night like stars, and with their mild persistence urge man's search to vaster issues. So to live is heaven, to make undying music in the world, breathing as beauteous order that controls with growing sway the growing life of man. So we inherit that sweet purity for which we struggled, failed, and agonized, with widening retrospect that bred despair. Rebellious flesh that would not be subdued, a vicious parent shaming still its child, poor anxious penitence is quick dissolved, its discords quenched by meeting harmonies, die in the large and charitable air, and all our rarer, better, truer self that sobbed religiously in yearning song, that watched to ease the burthen of the world, laboriously tracing what must be and what may yet be better, saw within a worthier image for the sanctuary, and shaped it forth before the multitude, divinely human, raising worship so to higher reverence, more mixed with love, that better self shall live till human time shall fold its eyelids, and the human sky be gathered like a scroll within the tomb, unread forever. This is life to come, which martyred men have made more glorious. For us who strive to follow, may I reach that purest heaven, be to other souls the cup of strength in some great agony, enkindle generous ardor, feed pure love, beget the smiles that have no cruelty, be the sweet presence of a good diffused, and in diffusion ever more intense. So shall I join the choir invisible, whose music is the gladness of the world. And next I have a message from Christine's niece, Barbara Luland, who is in London and gives her regrets that she couldn't join us today, but she has sent some lovely reminiscences of her times with my mother, which I will read to you. Christine. I have such happy memories of you, Christine, staying with Grandma and Grandpa Heslop for 2 weeks every summer, all through my childhood. It was such fun with you and Ray, playing with Jeff and myself, taking us to the beach in the evenings to play French cricket and eat chips on the sand. And oh, the toys you bought for me. I can still see in my mind's eye the fluffy brown and white clockwork puppy. It jumped around when I turned the clockwork key. I was the envy of every child in the playground when I came home. You still brought gifts to me when I had grown up. I am looking as I write at the beautiful tapestry cushion of the Lady and the Unicorn. You gave it to me when you and Ray stayed soon after I'd moved into my flat. You were en route from France with your choir, singing Gregorian chants, I think. The three of us sat up late, talking over meals. I was pleased you seemed to like my cooking. We also sat in the garden till late, nibbling on your favorite Chinese rice crackers, watching for the Perseid meteor shower to reveal itself. Wonderfully it did, and we saw some brilliant shooting stars together. You said you had always wanted to see the lilacs at Kew Gardens. We visited it the next day, and amazingly, they were in full flower. Considering they have such a short flowering season, I pondered on the strange coincidences of things you noticed that we had in common. You had the same little model of a bicycle at home that I had on my bookshelf, and a full-length mirror propped up on the floor. You went to school at Dame Allen's, and I to Dame Alice. Another gift to me was your violin. I did have lessons on it for a year at school. I played it at a school concert with a small group. Just London Bridge is falling down, I'm afraid. I never reached the heights of Elgar's violin concerto, but I am glad I had the chance to learn. Thank you. You always used to send me lovely cards and sent lovely things to my mother as well from Canada, which she always loved. I always made sure that I went home to Bedford when you were visiting my parents. They both loved you so much and were proud of the way that you had spread your wings, flown to Canada and Paris, and taken up studies in education and literature with your fine mind. You had such an easy manner talking to everyone you met. I, as a gauche and shy teenager, looked on in awe. You had the most beautiful voice, and I wish I could hear it again. It was indescribably sad that your illness in these long years robbed you and all who loved and knew you of that and of so much else. Your beauty, your charm, your smile, your laughter, your intelligence, your generosity, your understanding, your care for your family, your travels to visit us all, your essence, all live on and are remembered by each one of us with thankfulness in hearts. Thank you, Debbie, for reading this for me. Barbara. Okay, who would like to go next?
Well, I'm willing to let the Rochesterians go if you like, or I can go.
Carol?
We'll race you to the front here.
I'm in charge of the technical.
Okay.
So Jill is gonna go next.
You and I are going.
Well, it's good to see you
Oh,
all here.
hurry.
I did want to start off with a little bit of a phrase from a bubblegum music song. We had joy, we had fun, we had seasons in the sun. So the thing is that Christine was a joy and a delight to be with, and she took great pleasure in her existence. What more can we ask from a human being? Probably more, but anyway, nothing really. And you know, her sweet sojourn upon this earth has left many richer for contact with her. You can quote me on that. Now I'm going to read Psalm 121 from the King James Version of the Bible. Christine was a bit religious, but we've had trouble in our atheistical age to try to incorporate that in the event here today. But I will read this. I think you all know it anyway. I will lift up mine eyes unto the hills, from whence cometh my help. My help cometh from the Lord, which made heaven and earth. He will not suffer thy foot to be moved. He that keepeth thee will not slumber. Behold, he that keepeth Israel shall neither slumber nor sleep. The Lord is thy keeper. The Lord is thy shade upon thy right hand. The sun shall not smite thee by day, nor the moon by night. The Lord shall preserve thee from all evil. He shall preserve thy soul. The Lord shall preserve thy going out and thy coming in from this time forth and even forevermore. So that is how King James would say it. So, many of you here, some of you here anyway, know Christine from before I met her. I met her in the 1970s. There was a dinner at her apartment, I remember, with a few friends and a Ouija board. So we got into that, and Christine was helping us to see the other world through the magic device. In the background, I could hear young Debbie in her bedroom in the back saying, "Who the hell are those people you're with? Send them away, I want your attention." But Christine ignored her. You know, why not, eh? All right, so I had increasing contacts through drama productions and the English department at Sock and Buskin and all sorts of things at Carleton. And, you know, we got to know each other over the years. I think I first saw her on the stage in Wit and Science. She was in that, I think she was. And that was a production which has echoed down the years. Many people were there and they remember it well. Linda, were you there?
One person was there. I was the stage manager.
There you go, eh? Did anyone fall over?
It was wonderful. It was a great production. She did beautiful.
In the Inn Lounge or something?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, Patty says it was there, she was there.
Validation.
All right, and then I graduated and went off to England and Vancouver. I came back and rediscovered Christine at the some kind of reunion for the English department. That was when people took English at university, and the university hoped we would all contribute money when we died. Now there's nothing to contribute to because the English students are all being shot on the campus by the computer science people. Anyway, so I got to know Christine and Mary Huban there, and the two women set up the English grads book group there. And I've been in that since 1990, so we've read a lot of books together. So there were a lot of good times then, a lot of discussions over books and things, and dinners. I remember at one point, Christine cooked a beef Wellington, which I would never attempt to do. And it was delicious. And the beef didn't complain at all. So later on, I went on trips with Christine to Venezuela and to China. We went to China in 2005, and I can't remember when we went to Venezuela, but it was before the big troubles. More fun, more dinners, more friendship. And we had good times with our friends Dawn and Yoka Phillipson, both of whom have passed on to the other side and are waiting eagerly in heaven for Christine's arrival. We had monthly dinners with them, Thai, Indian, and Chinese, and all sorts of things. And Christine's Alzheimer appeared something after that, and I spent more time with her. I took her to a few plays, and that was good fun. She could still enjoy things quite a bit. 2 star performances there. We saw The Lieutenant of Inishmore, and we were the only 2 people in the audience. A ridiculous, crazy, violent thing about an Irishman whose cat has died. And then we went also to see Antigone at the GCTC, and she was pretty far gone by then, but she loved the show. So, you know, there was things there. I remember I would try to incorporate her in life. I took her out to the grocery store, and she was combined terrified of the place and also fascinated by the consumer goods available. So she enjoyed that, I think. And also she was worried about it at the same time. So finally, she had she showed great joy in sharing her rich reading experiences with me and all kinds of other aspects of her life. Now, I won't say that Christine told me all her secrets. There's probably too many. I wouldn't have followed them all. Martin may know more than I do. One thing I think that Barbara noted in her thing is Christine was great in conversation. It was wonderful to talk with her. She kept her English accent, and at one point we did Dante's Inferno on the book group, and we found a copy of it written in Geordie. Christine was able to do it perfectly. I thought, you know, we had a star performer, but there's only 10 people in the world who speak Geordie, so, you know, we couldn't probably make big sales on that. But,
4 of them are here. 4 of them are here.
yeah, 4 of you
With
are
our
here.
American accents.
All right, so even as she declined, she remained a pleasing companion until her voice grew silent and she disappeared into herself. But she leaves me a better, deeper, more understanding person for what she gave. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Would anyone else like to say anything?
Yeah,
Jillian?
we're gonna do it together.
We're
And
gonna do a duet.
No.
Right.
see, when she cries, then I'll take over.
What
Vice
if we're
versa.
both crying, right?
Good idea.
a bunch of you.
My pants have no pockets, so. That's the name of the book. Where's the one that's not so teary? Oh,
I don't know.
not that one.
Where's the one that you did in the citizen?
Yeah, take this one.
That's,
Is that the one you wanna read because you voted? Oh, I might be able to get through part of this.
all right, I'll be your back.
This one's written by our sister Marion.
She's the oldest sister.
My godmother, caring and kind, thoughtful little gifts to touch our hearts. Paper dress-up dolls and spotty ribbon when I had the measles. Little hats and baby dresses. Christmas crackers, English sweets, ice gems, tiny cards and mistletoe, and special wrapping paper, kilts from Marks and Spencer's, loved a high bed, French doors, net curtains dancing on a moonlit breeze, walls filled with books she loved, dancing and singing our hearts out on Percy Street after a day at the Dinosaur Museum. Pure happiness. Mom was gone for 6 years, that's our mother, but I felt her all around us. Mom loved Christine, walks along Roker Park to the beach, fishing with nets we'd made with an old stocking in a pond before houses were built in the big field, feeding the chickens after tea, sand castles and rock pools, a place so holy I could feel the war. The coast of France in the mist, a beach where landmines were laid, violin and ballet slippers, soft feather bed, leaving home, weddings, always speaking with such eloquence, tucking baby's breath into flower girls' garlands, lace and silky pillowcases, a sixpence in her shoe, fairy believer, loved the Northeast and the sea and our history. Nighttime talks of hopes and dreams, softly sharing secrets to keep. You can read that line.
Oh, why did we leave our home?
With tears and a heavy heart, we are kindred spirits, she'd say. So loved from Marion with love. Marion Margaret Kinnaird. Europe.
Okay. You know, a lot of times when I write stuff, people say, oh, don't go there, that's too difficult, it's depressing. But there were several times when I would come up to see Christine at the nursing home, Starwood, and then the Glebe Center. Michael was my,
I opened the door.
yes,
The doorman.
he helped me get here. I'm very, very grateful for that and everything you did. I watched you give Christine a glass with apple juice to drink. You massaged her shoulders, things that people don't see, but unless they're there. So I had to be here to see that and to witness what a wonderful friend you were. So this is one of the visits that I took to Ottawa from Rochester with my brother Keith, and he had a friend Elizabeth at the time, and David, my son David and I, and Elizabeth had a very reliable Toyota Sienna minivan, and she very nicely offered to take us because they had a lake house in Ottawa, which was being sold. So she knew Ottawa. So we were very grateful to have her bring us up. Now, my Uncle Ray, that's Christine's brother. only brother. He visited us from England in early August of 2017. It was a yearly tradition to see nieces and nephews, great nieces and great nephews, and family friends. Ray visited his youngest sister, Christine, in Ottawa first. She has been living in a nursing home for the past few years. She has been diagnosed with Alzheimer's and she is on a number of medications. After 4 days and spending about 4 hours a day with Christine, Ray flew down to Rochester to spend the next 2 weeks with us. Does Auntie Christine know you? I asked my uncle. Oh yeah, he replied. I was teaching her how to put one foot in front of the other, starting with the left foot, said Uncle Ray. She was getting better with it, but her walking is hesitant. I'm sure she could improve with someone working every day on it. But Uncle Ray has always been an optimist, and I wasn't convinced Christine did know him, and I wasn't convinced her walking was as good as he said it was. I wanted to believe my uncle, but I knew I would have to see Christine myself to experience how she was firsthand. On Friday, October 6th, my brother Keith, his friend Elizabeth, and my son David and I drove up to Ottawa in Elizabeth's minivan, where she was at Starwood Nursing Home at that point. We arrived at one of the busiest times of the day. It was dinner time. All hands were on deck to accomplish this evening ritual. The receptionist at the front desk was missing, but after a few minutes, a staff person came out. May I help you? She inquired in a friendly voice. My brother replied, yes, we are here to see our Aunt Christine Fisher. I looked at the name tag the staff person was wearing. Her name was Maureen. Okay, let me just check, she responded. She went down the list of names in a book. She's on the second floor. I can take you up there. Above the elevator button, a code was written. You have to punch that code number in to be able to use the elevator. And I realized it was to prevent residents leaving because they no longer knew how to read or how to use the keypad to type in the numbers. Maureen showed us to Christine's room. Christine wasn't in there, but her roommate Isabel was. But Isabel was coughing a lot, and several nursing assistants were attending to her. A beige cloth curtain separated the two beds. Let's look in the hallways, said Maureen. A lot of the residents walk in the hallways. They're not restricted to their rooms. But Christine wasn't in any of the hallways. There she is, Elizabeth excitedly called out. A tall woman with short gray, dark hair was walking towards us. She walked very well and resembled Christine from a distance, but I knew it wasn't her. As the lady moved closer towards us, she suddenly did a U-turn and walked the other way. We found the dining area and I spotted Christine through a large window. She was sitting at a table with her head down. She didn't interact with the other people at the table. The Christine that I knew would have been talking, laughing, and interested in who she was sharing a dinner table with. Maureen appeared and declared, we'll set you up a table and chairs in a quieter area, and you can sit with Christine while she eats. A tray with a plate of Swedish meatballs and gravy, rice and peas was placed in front of Christine. 3 small, clear, rigid drinking glasses came with her meal, apple juice, milk, and water. And for dessert, a pistachio chocolate ice cream bar on a stick. Is Christine okay to eat? I mean, how is her swallowing? Does she have any problems with swallowing or choking? I asked the staff member. She has no restrictions, no problem with eating or swallowing. She reassured me. I sat next to Christine and offered her some juice. She took the glass from my hand and quickly drank it. She picked up one of the meatballs with her fingers and also ate that quickly. I put a meatball on her fork, but she pried it off and ate it with her fingers. I offered her the glass of water. She drank all of it. I put some rice on a spoon, but Christine wasn't interested in that or the peas I offered her. Christine, do you like milk? No reply. I held it to her mouth. She wasn't interested in it. She had always been a coffee drinker. It was clear when Christine was finished, she tried to push her chair back and get into a standing position. We helped her accomplish that, and she began to walk slowly and carefully with her body hunched over. She stayed close to walls, and I offered her my hand. She did accept it a small victory. "Do you want to go back to your room and open some presents we brought for you?" said Keith. Christine's friend Michael had informed us she loves chocolate and had bought a large selection with us. We found her room and helped her sit on the bed. She became agitated. She didn't want to sit on her bed in her room. She wanted to get up and go back out to the hallway. She wanted to walk. So we walked with her and bribed her with chocolate. "Christine, if you come and sit with us, we'll give you some chocolate," said Keith. We steered her to one of the side areas of the main hallways. It had several places to sit. Keith unwrapped a Cadbury's milk chocolate bar and broke a piece off, then another, and another, until it was gone. As we sat there, another resident came and sat down next to Keith. She was petite and a fast walker. She put her hand on Keith's knee. Keith looked quite surprised. We looked at each other to see what would happen next. Keith reached into his plastic bag. "Do you want a piece of chocolate?" he asked her. She shook her head, stood up, and walked away. Maybe he reminded her of someone. We'll never know. Our visit to see Christine was almost over. We walked Christine back to her room. She was okay with sitting on her bed now. We showed her presents we had brought her, a bag of peppermints, more chocolate, a soft cloth hand puppet, some photos of her when she was younger with family members. She looked at the face of the puppet when I held it up and didn't push it away. Then I placed it in her hand. I looked down at Christine's black slip-on shoes. They were sturdy and practical. I noticed her name was written on a label stuck on each side of her shoes. Christine Fisher. I looked into her brown eyes and she looked into mine. There was no recognition. She couldn't speak. How did my educated, sociable, witty, beautiful aunt get here? I used to envy her adventurous, independent spirit. Christine motioned that she wanted to lie down on the bed. She needed help lifting her legs, and we tried to make her as comfortable as possible. Her body was rigid, not much flexibility. "We should take some pictures before we go," I said. We stood next to Christine as she lay on her bed. I placed my hand on her shoulder. "Christine, we have to get going now," said Keith. I looked at her face. A small amount of perspiration showed above her upper lip. I picked up the puppet I had brought for her. I'd written her name on the cloth tag, Christine Fisher. I placed it in her hands as she stared beyond me. She was shutting down now. Her eyes were open, but she was retreating to a place where we couldn't go. We walked out of her room to find the elevator. "Here it is," said Elizabeth. "Where?" I asked. "Right here," she said. On the wall in front of us was a painted mural of shelves of books. It didn't look like an elevator. And where was the button? "That's not an elevator," Keith stated. Off to the side of the mural was a small painting of a nature scene. Upon closer inspection, it could be moved to the side, and underneath was a button. Christine would have loved that. She was a great reader and had surrounded herself with books all her life. We walked onto the elevator and got up to the main floor. It was dark outside, and an older man was standing at the door looking out. "Have a good night," I said as we walked by him. He seemed a bit startled to hear me, but responded back in a delayed reaction. "Oh, you too," he called out. And in that short exchange, I wondered who he'd been visiting. Was it his wife, his mother, his sister, or a brother, or perhaps a good friend? It was starting to rain, a misty rain, and I thought, how long has it been since Christine was outside? How long has it been since she felt rain on her face? We climbed into Elizabeth's minivan. It continued to rain all the way home. Do you want to read anything else?
No, I'm good.
Okay, I've got one more thing. In memory of Auntie Christine. We have come to Ottawa from our home in Rochester, New York, to say goodbye to our Auntie Christine. Auntie Christine was a part of our lives from our childhood in England, and when my father, mother, and 2 sisters and 2 brothers and I moved to the U.S. in 1968. She was our mother Nancy's youngest sister with 17 years difference between them. Over the years we would visit her and she would come to Rochester. I used to envy her independence and positivity, her fashion sense, her beauty, her smile lit up a room. On one particular visit, she brought a musical instrument, a recorder, with her. I was teaching myself how to play it, and the only song that I had mastered was Merrily We Roll Along. We played an impromptu duet together and surprised the family as well as ourselves. We all had a good laugh. She was only staying one night. I think she was on her way to Iceland the next day. I gave her my bed to sleep in and I took the couch. The next night, my pillow smelled of her musk perfume. Her quick visit had left a lasting impression, and I didn't want to wash my pillowcase for a week. I bought myself some musk perfume and thought of Auntie Christine whenever I wore it. Thank you for all of the visits and presents you gave to each of us over the years. Can you read that?
But most of all, thank you for giving a young girl hope that she too could have dreams. With love from Jillian.
We didn't have an ideal situation in our home. Our dad was a drinker, and there were 7 kids. So it was difficult to have dreams because we didn't have money, you know. He was a tool and die maker. His family, a lot of teachers in the family, but he chose a blue-collar job, which meant he was kind of outcast from his family, even though his father did sign the apprenticeship paperwork when our dad, Henry, was 13. So that's the job that got him to come to America, because they needed tool and die makers in America. And that's why we're here today. So there's a lot of history, and there's a lot of family that we haven't seen for years, but a lot of people are also dying that we'll never see again. So this was great today to be able to come here, be with you all. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Not too bad.
Great stuff. Well, I hope there's some more volunteers.
David, you're next.
Anyway, you can also comment on things on a one-to-one basis in the room where the coffee and tea is.
Okay.
So we can step over there and continue to babble incoherently. or I mean, to make profound statements. Is what I mean.
Use up the Kleenex.
So, thank you, everybody. It's great to see you all here, and we'll try not to come together too often because none of us is planning to die soon.
Yeah.
All right, shall I ring the fire alarm? Coffee, tea, and at 2 o'clock, you're all invited to go to the Chances Are, just down the road, short distance, Chances Are East, and have a meal on Christine's wallet. She left it behind her.
Oh, gee.
Great stuff,
All
thank
right,
you.
very good.